Had the honor and the privilege of serving as the executive director of the Hartford Housing Authority for the past almost 13 years. It's been certainly a privilege. I'm a product. Many of you know that I'm a proud product of public housing in Hartford, and to see myself doing this today and continuing to lead this organization over the past 12 and a half years has been a tremendous honor, and I'm always happy when we can get some additional resources to help us with our mission. So I also want to say that on behalf of our Board of Commissioners, chaired by our esteemed chair, there you are, James Wolf, who's in attendance today, and the staff of the Hartford Housing Authority, they're hiding back there, right? I'm honored to welcome you to 15 Harrison Street, one of the authority's scattered sites. Isn't it a beautiful development? Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have the privilege of hosting several esteemed guests who are behind me today, and you're going to hear from them. So we have HUD Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary Richard Monacchio. Thank you. I don't think Senator Blumenthal is here as of yet. He's in. Senator Blumenthal is in transit. Congressman Larson, thank you for joining us today. Governor Lamont, thank you for joining us today. My mayor, our mayor, Mayor Arulampalam, thank you for joining us today. He's got my back, too. He's right behind me, right? Okay. I want to thank one of my partners in crime in terms of the housing industry. I think the checks may have gotten a little confused, but, you know, he's here today, and we're good friends. Jeff Arn from the Norwich Housing Authority. Thank you for being here today. Jeff is joined by his vice chair, Mary Ellen Lunt. Thank you for being here today. As well as one of his staff members. John, where are you? Right here. There you are. He's the guy who keeps things moving from the modernization side. He's the one who's going to spend the money, right? So we are grateful for your presence and your commitment to safe, affordable, and housing for all. Thank you all for joining us today. It is now my great pleasure to introduce HUD Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Public and Indian Housing, Mr. Richard Monacchio.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Annette, and it's really an honor for me to be here today, not just for what we're going to talk about, but to have this level of political support. It just shows the political will, and it takes political will to do things like this. It takes political will to do this because this work isn't easy. We're talking about restoring and making safe thousands of units in this country by eradicating lead-based paint. I'd like to really thank our mayor, too. We had a great meeting with the mayor, Arulampalam, this morning. Very committed to this city, and we're going to work closely with him to do a lot of things in addition to what we're doing here today. So I come to this is also as a practitioner. I did a lot of work in the city of Chicago, but also ran a housing authority. And we were also a housing authority with older housing stock. And just eradicating, having the funding to eradicate the lead-based paint, remove the lead pipes, get the lead out of the water, there's nothing more critical. We're talking about a huge health crisis, especially for our younger kids under 6, because this affects their brain development. So I'm just really proud to be here today to make these awards in the state of Connecticut. A couple weeks ago, we announced $87.5 million to 20 states to eradicate lead and other health hazards and make fire safety improvements. So today, it's my great pleasure to announce that the Hartford Housing Authority is going to receive, I'm going to make sure I get this right, $4,038,000. And the Norwich Housing Authority is going to receive $7.5 million. And to bring back over 1,000 units, making them safe for families to live in. And it's a huge preservation tool as well. Congratulations. You know, this is really critical funding in a region. The governor mentioned this earlier, and the congressman too. In a region where we have older housing stock, it's so critical that we preserve it. And one of the ways we're doing that is by making it safe from health hazards. I should also point out that this funding, which comes about every year from HUD, is really only a start, because in the Biden-Harris administration, the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure law, and thank you, Senator and Congressman, for that support, there's going to be $100 billion available nationwide to remove, eradicate health hazards, especially lead, to make sure that our communities are safe and that our young people can grow up and reach their full potential. I've been in a lot of towns recently announcing awards, you know, smaller cities too, like Oshkosh, Wisconsin, Lawrence, Mass. We were just in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Puxton County, Pennsylvania, bigger cities like Louisville, and really an honor for me to be here today with this incredible group of people to make this award to the state and the cities of Hartford and Norwich over $11 million. So thank you for the opportunity to be here, and look forward to working with the city and the state in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. In terms of next, we'll hear from Senator Blumenthal. Senator, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you to the housing authorities and the great work that all of you do, often thankless, but so critically important. And to the mayor, thanks for your support. The governor has played really a vital role as being a champion of better housing and healthier housing. And my great colleague, John Larson, who every day works and fights for Hartford, and Joe Courtney, who worked so hard for Norwich. You know, the Biden administration has really put its money where its mouth is. Lead is a killer. Lead is permanent and disabling. It is a forever chemical. Once it's in your body, it stays there. And it can be crippling, particularly to children who are in school and become slow learners because of lead. Johnny can't learn. Johnny can't read. Johnny can't spell. Well, Johnny could do just fine if he didn't have lead that comes from the paint in the walls, or the water, or the effects of other chemicals that have been invisible and still are invisible. What we're giving them visibility, and we're giving them a solution. Now, my strong suit is not math, but I'm just doing a little math here as I look at the numbers. And $4 million for Hartford, $7 million for Norwich. That's $11 million coming to the state of Connecticut. I've gone through all of the other awards. We are by far the largest. In fact, out of 40 million that HUD is announcing, we got 11 million for the whole country. And that's because we fight for Connecticut, and because Connecticut has great leadership. That kind of victory has yet to be made real. It will be real when kids no longer suffer from lead in paint or other places, and the effects of radon and some of these other crippling chemicals are eliminated as well. And the reason why we do well is we work as a team. We're a small delegation, but we fight above our weight. And our leader He may not be the longest serving, but he is one of the most visionary, and he's one of the strongest fighters for Connecticut, is John Larson, and I'm very pleased to introduce my great friend, John.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much, Senator, for that introduction. I guess you could say that this gives new meaning to get the lead out. I heard that frequently from my father growing up, and we grew up in a federal housing project, a place called Mayberry Village, or as we would say, the garden spot of the Northeast. And although detractors would call it the cardboard city, but nonetheless, God bless my mother and father, especially my mother. 8 children in 12 years. That's pretty productive, I would say. But thank you so much, Deputy Secretary, for being here and for touring the country, and to have the focus that you've had over a lifetime from Chicago to here. But we're blessed in this state with great leadership. First, we have an incredible congressional delegation. Senator Blumenthal and Senator Murphy and our good friend Joe Courtney, who couldn't be here, but otherwise I'd be saying, hey, how come you got 11 and we only got 4? But as this is done on the basis of need, and also on the emphasis and care, and that all comes from Governor Lamont and his administration. And Annette Sanderson and what she's done here in the city is just remarkable as well. So it's a great day. We're glad to be here, and the mission is so vitally important. Not to repeat what Dick said, but when you understand, especially not only housing but our public school systems as well, the danger that lead presents for children and the younger, because this is a sustainable thing that doesn't leave your body, is that vitally important. I thank the governor for recognizing that, and as always, stepping forward in making sure that Connecticut leads the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Next, we'll hear from our esteemed governor, Governor Lamont.
Thanks, Annette. Hey, Richard, you're welcome to Connecticut anytime. We love having you here. We love having HUD here. Every time you're here, you're making a difference in people's lives. Look, we are blessed with an amazing delegation. As Dick said, we got an outsized proportion of these grants. That's Dick, that's John, that's Joe, that's Chris, that's the entire delegation. But there's another reason. We have a big need. We're an older state. We have older infrastructure. We have older housing infrastructure. And our support we get from the feds makes an enormous difference. Under the infrastructure bill, we got about $20 million plus due lead pipes. And we're making an enormous difference there. Out of the ARPA money, we have lead-free Connecticut, and people can apply in their homes, getting some of the lead paint out there. And this $11 million grant, thank you. Thank you for Hartford, on behalf of Hartford. Thank you on behalf of Norwich, taking care of over 1,000 families. And as you heard, lead can really impact our mental faculties, especially if impacted at a young age. Especially if you're a kid and you ingest lead paint in some ways. And this is what we are trying to do every day to give our kids the very best opportunity. And that's why we are taking care of the lead pipes thanks to the infrastructure bill. That's why we have to do brownfield remediation. They don't have to do that in some other states. They're relatively new. We're an old manufacturing state. Every time we build housing, we got to make sure you're building it on a safe location. So that's what this means today. This means more than 1,000 families will know that their kids are safe when they're in their public housing. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Yes, next we will hear from my mayor, Mayor Arulampalam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annette. I just want to start off by saying thank you to Annette, to the staff of the Hartford Housing Authority. The Assistant Secretary mentioned the level of political leadership that is here in this press conference, and it's because in Connecticut we understand the importance of housing. Like communities all across this country, we are facing real challenges, but our congresspeople, our senators, our governor, City Hall, we're stepping up to the plate and trying to be actively engaged in this, and there's no partnership in that matters more to us than with our housing authority. And you know that because of the work you do, Congressman Larson talked about his experience growing up in public housing. We've got future congresspeople out there in our public housing. We've got future executive directors, and we need housing that is dignified, that is safe, that is decent, that dignifies the life of those incredible residents who live inside of it. And it's also an important partnership because my chief of staff, as you know, serves on the board of the Housing Authority, and you'll hear from him in a moment. But this partnership is really important to us, and these dollars will make such a huge difference. We're really proud that there's $11 million coming to Connecticut, that $4 million is coming to Hartford. And let me tell you, $4 million in lead remediation makes such a huge difference in this city. The governor alluded to the age of our housing stock, and the Assistant Secretary Minacchio and I were talking about the similarities between Chicago and Hartford and the old housing stock. As you know, my former job was as head of the land bank here, and going around properties, I could see. I got so used to seeing lead that I could tell the structure, the buckling of paint, whether there was lead in the property the moment I walked into it, because there's so many of these properties that the cost of redeveloping them is more than they are worth at the end of that redevelopment. And so if somebody doesn't step in, especially on the remediation costs, a lot of these beautiful old properties we have in places like Hartford go vacant and abandoned, and or you have residents living in substandard housing with this health crisis of lead in their paints, in their water, and across this home that creates irreversible impacts for young folks in our community. And so we so appreciate this grant. This is going to make such a huge difference in the city of Hartford. And beyond that, we appreciate this partnership. This meeting we just had this morning with Assistant Secretary Minacchio, with our regional administrator, with our state administrator. A lot of times when you go to meet with government agencies, especially federal agencies, you kind of line up your list of asks as a mayor, and it's a very formal meeting. We just kind of talked about our challenges here in the city of Hartford and some of the solutions we're working on, and brainstormed some of the things that are available at HUD, what we can work together on. The Assistant Secretary wants to get personally involved in some of these issues himself. That level of partnership is something you don't always see. And HUD has been such a valued partner to the city of Hartford, will continue to be a valued partner to the city of Hartford. We have all talked about what housing means in our communities. And I just got back a week ago from the leadership meeting of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. And there were mayors who were Republicans and Democrats, mayors in huge cities and mayors in smaller cities all across America. And we spent over half the time in that retreat talking about housing. That's how urgent of an issue it is. And I know there may be some speakers here at this podium who can't get all that partisan today. But I will say this. I am really encouraged by the housing proposals that are being laid out by Vice President Harris and what that can mean in our community. The kind of investment, historic investment in housing in cities like Hartford to unwind generational disinvestment, to allow safe and dignified housing for all residents, to allow for generational wealth creation through home ownership, through a bill that Congressman Larson is sponsoring, the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act. We are so excited about what that can mean in the years ahead, and we are all working together in partnership to make that a reality. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for this grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last but not least is my good friend Jeff Arndt from the City of Norwich. He's the Executive Director. Jeff?
Thank you, everyone. Been doing this for 29 years, and this is my first press conference, so thanks for the invite. My name is Jeffrey Arndt. I'm the Executive Director of the Norwich Housing Authority. I'm here along with my Vice Chair, Mary Ellen Lunt, and my Modernization Coordinator, John Mainville. He's the guy that did all the work and helped to get us this money. And on behalf of the residents of the Norwich Housing Authority, residents of Oakwood Knoll, our dedicated staff, the Board of Commissioners, and the City of Norwich, we want to thank you all for this amazing grant award of $7.5 million. Sorry, Annette. So back in June, when we were preparing this grant application, I did not consider that I might have to be here in Hartford with these remarkable dignitaries accepting this grant. I don't recall seeing that as part of the award process, but I'm sure it was in the fine print somewhere, no one HUD. Anyways, this is not my forte, as you can tell, but a few moments of discomfort for me is well worth the $7.5 million. So. I want to thank and acknowledge all of you for coming here today. I mean, this is amazing. Governor Lamont, Senator Blumenthal, Congressman Larson. I know he just left, but good to see him. I also want to acknowledge HUD Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary, Mr. Manacchio. Thank you. And also, I know she's not speaking, but HUD Regional Administrator Juana Matias, thank you so much. She came and spoke to us at Con recently, and it was a great message. I also want to thank HUD Connecticut Field Office Director Suzanne Pizzantini. She's got me prepped for this, and she's always there when we need her. I also want to acknowledge Jennifer Gottlieb. I didn't hear anyone acknowledge Jennifer Gottlieb Azaria. She is the head of public and Indian housing in Connecticut, and she's a great resource for all housing authorities, and we appreciate having her. And I also want to thank all the other HUD staff that are here and that help make this possible. I want to thank City of Hartford Mayor Arunan Arulampalam. I've been practicing that. Did I get it close?
Keep practicing.
I told them my name's Arn. It's really easy. So, I also want to thank my good friend and colleague Annette Sanderson for hosting this event and inviting us to participate. It's really an honor to be here with everybody. A little about the grant. This grant will help the Norwich Housing Authority remove all lead-based paint hazards from our Oakwood Knoll development and help create safer homes for 74 families, 22 of which of those contained children with that are under 6, so it's very important. Now, without this grant, we would have probably been able to do this work, but it would have taken over 10 years. You know, with the money we get every year from HUD, we're grateful for it, but it doesn't really go a long way. So this grant is amazing. We're now going to be able to get this job done in probably 24 to 36 months. So that's with people like John Mainville that makes that possible. And we're going to quickly mitigate all the lead-based paint hazards on the property. Now, while doing this, we're also going to provide these families a more appealing, safer, and welcoming neighborhood to call their home, helping to inspire a stronger sense of pride in this community for all our residents. For this, we are extremely appreciative for all those responsible for providing the funding to help us better serve the families of Oakwood Knoll. Thank you all very much.
So with that being said, I also want to echo Jeff's comments. I want to thank HUD for working with us on this matter. I want to thank Juana. I want to thank Suzanne. I want to thank my good friend Jennifer. Without you all guiding us through your various processes, we would not be here today. I echo Jeff's comments. We are so honored to accept these funds on behalf of our residents. It's a great day, not for our housing authorities, but it's a great day for our residents. I also want to acknowledge the presence of our leader at Con Narrow, John Rumberger, who is also the president also the executive director of the Wethersfield Housing Authority. He came here to show support for both Jeff and I. So it's a great day. So now I guess it's time to hand out some money, right?
Yeah. So our photo op with the check.
Okay.
You want to bring your checks together, closer together, or take your check?